Here's how to play the Fairy Shrimp. The Fairy Shrimp is the first horseman of the Shrimpocalypse. Each of the 4 horsemen of the Shrimpocalypse are jokers that have unique effects that trigger whether they are played or discarded, and have separate effects that trigger depending on what is in your hand as well as what is already on the Shrimpocalypse mat. Let's say that you play the Fairy Shrimp. Upon playing the Fairy Shrimp, you must put it in its respective slot in the mat, and it never goes in the joker pile. You'll then read here, we get to trigger the Shrimp Sequence effect, which is the first effect there, if you happen to have the next shrimp in the sequence in hand. And I happen to have Mantis Shrimp, so all it does is it says, if you have Mantis Shrimp, play it. And that's the end of the effect. You get to trigger the effect of Mantis Shrimp after that. But let's say that you didn't have Mantis Shrimp in hand, and you played Fairy Shrimp, and all you have are these cards. Instead, you'll do the in-sequence effect, which is written down here. The in-sequence effect says, if you don't have the Mantis Shrimp, force all players to pass 1 card to the left face down. The hand limit decreases to 7. So I'm going to put a card here, my opponent's going to put a card somewhere else, and then we're going to each pick up the card that we got, and now the hand limit goes from 10 to 7. In Crabs in a Bucket, you're not allowed to have more than 10 cards. If you have 10 cards at the start of your turn, you have to discard until you have exactly 10 before taking your turn. And you put the jokers on this side, and you put the regular cards over here. Then you begin your turn. In this case, the hand limit goes down to 7. So from now on, if I have more than 7 cards at the start of my turn, I got to discard until I have exactly 7. There are a total of 4 copies of the Fairy Shrimp in the entire deck, as indicated by these 4 dots here on this playmat. If there already is a Fairy Shrimp that's been played, and another player chooses to play the Fairy Shrimp, then we get to trigger it all over again, where if that player happens to have the Mantis Shrimp in their hand, they get to trigger the Shrimp Sequence effect and move on to that, and if they don't, then we get to redo the in-sequence effect. However, if there already is something on the field that has changed the hand limit to something else, and we re-trigger the Fairy Shrimp, the hand limit does not go back up to 7. If the hand limit already was 5, it stays at 5, because as the hand limit goes down, it winds up sticking with whatever the latest version is. If you have the limited edition Crabs in a Bucket Shrimpocalypse neoprene mat, you'll play the Fairy Shrimp over here in the 1 slot.